when you're ready.
Yeah. Do I have more than this? No, sorry. Okay, so we want to talk about the social life of the scholar. Is having a PhD a blessing or a curse? Our basic research question is, does having a PhD impact individual levels of social interaction? Basically, we built our research on the image of PhD holders, which is not necessarily true today, but used to be very negative. Like even we saw in the little comics Robert showed us yesterday with like the professor with the glasses, you remember his little back problem and everything. So we thought like maybe actually having a PhD and introducing yourself as a PhD holder to people socially will basically create a stereotype in their mind and will have a negative effect on your social life and your social interactions. So in order to answer this question, is this kind of stereotype still active today? We found this key paper, one from Einstein and allies, How to Find a Partner in 3 Simple Steps, a simple guide for single scientists. Second one, The Greatest Mistake of My Life, a PhD, from the Journal of Regrets. And the last one from Stark, Wayne, Kent, and Parker, Breaking the Stereotype, How to Have a PhD While Staying Socially Attractive, from famous scientists who succeeded. So our motivation are pretty easy, that's exactly what I just told you. So historically, PhD holders are cursed with a negative perceived image as being socially awkward and physically unattractive. Once again, I'm talking about historically in the past. But while may be true in the past, a significant evolution in our social world makes this statement questionable. Therefore, the motivation of this study is to redefine the perceived image of PhD holders when it comes to social interactions. All right? So we want to investigate how PhD are perceived. Are we perceived positively today? Has it changed? And maybe different groups, depending on age, gender, and everything, perceive PhD differently. Can be an interesting question. So, the idea. We want to conduct 3 different phases of study, 3 different stages. First, we're going to do focus group with non-PhD holders. So people who don't have a PhD, in order to apprehend the current state of the perception of PhD holders. So we want to conduct about 5 focus groups, as you can see in our data, with 6 to 8 non-PhD holders. Each focus group will be themed around like a gender, like basically male, female differently. Maybe there's difference of perception. There's going to be differences of age, maybe people with different ages perceived differently, and level of education, because we're talking about a specific level of education. Maybe people with different levels of education will have different perceptions of PhDs. So once we have this, we will conduct interviews with actual PhD holders in order to assess the self-perception, the social self-perception of PhD holders. Basically, we want to see if there's differences between what people think of PhD and what PhDs think of themselves, to see if that's where the gap exists. Finally, in the 3rd stage of the study, we will conduct experiments, social experiments, in social environments where we will put in contact non-PhD and PhD holders and see how they behave. So we were thinking of doing 3 different experiments. One, a social event, so not necessarily like in a hospitality venue, but like we were thinking like, like an academic event with PhD, non-PhD people interacting, or maybe a park, whatever, like kind of something a little bit artificial. A nightclub, so like very interactive, like kind of like the whole purpose, maybe involving some alcohol, we're not really sure, we haven't really decided. And a daytime event, like a picnic or something like way more casual. So we will basically, as we say, we're gonna like get all the comments from the 2 first stages, which we will compare to the in vivo comments, if you want to comment on in vivo.
In vivo actually is the software to capture all the capture analysis. They can capture all the words from hundreds of different sentences or anything. They capture the specific words, and actually you can do analysis based on the words, and you can.
Yeah. So basically, it's like to have this amended image that we developed through the first 2 stages of study, so that we can directly compare to what actually happens in the social interactions. It needs to be worked on still a little bit, but I think we're on something. So what's new? What are we doing new? So we're putting into motion 3 different areas. First, the perceived image of PhD holders that we believe have changed in the last decades. Social interactions, which is considered a need today. People need social interactions, they can't stay isolated. And qualitative methods, to try to basically find this kind of like gap in the literature, which we all have personal interest in as well. So, to our knowledge, no research of that kind had ever been conducted. So we believe that this new image of PhD holders is still unknown. So what? So having a satisfying social life is known to be accountable for general life satisfaction. And we want PhDs to be satisfied in a general way. It's good for research. So it is believed that finding life partners for PhD holders will be beneficial for research in general through an improved efficiency. And assessing the image of PhD holder within society will open the door for further research with the aim of improving such image. If we realize that the image is negative, maybe we can do things to improve this image, through promotion, through different opportunities. That it's not the aim of this research to find out. However, this research contributes to the body of knowledge regarding social interactions between the different level of education. We focus on PhD, but we also have this. We basically the foundation is to see how a level of education has an impact on social interactions, right? We chose PhD for this one, but we could have done it with a different level of education. Okay, so we contribute to the body of knowledge in this particular case, and we set the foundation, hopefully, on the framework to understand how social stereotypes still operate today in a very, very social world. And we didn't have a lot of time to do the rest. We're very sorry about this. So we target the social interactions in the Science World Journal that we have 2 of our key papers from. We state that all researchers involved in this study are not single, so we don't have any personal interest, so hopefully we get ethical clearance through that. Any questions?